Admiral Pack gripped the metal railing of the Star's Edge command deck. Around him, holographic displays showed thousands of coalition warships floating in perfect formation. The ships looked like metal scars against the starfield, each one carrying the weapons that had finally broken the builder war machines. "Admiral, the final casualty reports are in," Commander Yu said, his voice tired but proud. He held a glowing tablet in his scaled hands. The Zephyrian officer had fought in this war since he was young. Now his crest feathers were grey with age. "We lost 200 million beings across all species, but the builders are gone." Puck nodded slowly. 200 million dead. The number felt too big to understand. But the war was over. The galaxy could finally rest. "The species representatives want to speak with you," Commander Yu added. "The victory celebration is ready to begin." Through the bridge windows, Puck could see other coalition ships. The tall needle shapes of Altine vessels, the spinning rings of Terran minder craft, the living metal hulls of the Crystal People. 12. Different races had fought together against the builders. Now they would govern the galaxy together. The bridge doors opened with a soft hiss. Ambassador Tal stepped in, her blue skin bright with excitement. Behind her came the other species leaders, Admiral Vex with his 4 arms, Captain Norn with her feathered wings. They all looked happy but tired. "Admiral Pack," Ambassador Tal said, "the ships are ready for the victory pass. 300 years of war and we've won at last." Pack smiled. The victory pass would show their strength. Every ship would fly past the command station. The whole galaxy would see their power. This was the moment that united the galaxy under one government. No more wars between species. No more fighting over planets or trade routes. "Begin the celebration," Park ordered. The ships started their formation. Like a metal river, they flowed past the Star's Edge. Soldiers cheered on every ship. After so many years of death and fear, joy felt strange but good. "We did it," Commander Yu whispered, watching the ships pass. "The galaxy is one." Pack was about to answer when a sharp sound came from the sensor station. Lieutenant Zal pressed buttons rapidly, her insect eyes wide with confusion. "Admiral," she said, her voice high, "I'm reading massive energy signatures. They're coming from the galactic rim." The celebration sounds stopped. Every officer turned to look at the sensor screens. The holographic display showed space beyond the Coalition's borders. For a moment, nothing appeared. Then the computer marked 12 huge contacts moving toward them. "Size estimate?" Pack asked. "Sir, each object is approximately 3,000 meters long, much larger than our biggest ships." Lieutenant Zal's hands shook as she worked. "They're moving at incredible speed, direct course for the Sol system." Ambassador Tal frowned. "Sol? That's just a quarantine zone. The pre-space humans live there. We haven't even contacted them yet." The pre-space humans. Pack remembered the reports. A young species that had barely left their planet. The Coalition planned to contact them eventually, offer them junior membership, when they were ready. They lived in the Sol system, which was marked as Quarantine Zone 7 on all Coalition charts. "Could these be builder ships?" Captain Norn asked, her wings rustling with worry. "No," Commander Yu said, studying the sensor data. "The energy patterns are different, and the builders' ships looked like geometric shapes. These signatures don't match anything in our database." Pack felt cold despite the warm bridge air. "How long until they reach Sol?" 3 hours, sir. At their current speed." The victory celebration had stopped. Ships held their positions, waiting for orders. The massive objects continued toward the small yellow star, where primitive humans looked up at their sky, unaware that their quiet world was about to change forever. "Send a message to all ships," Park ordered. "Stand ready for possible combat and contact the Deep Space Command. We need to know what's heading for that system." As the orders went out, Pa stared at the display. The war was supposed to be over. They had won. The galaxy was united and peaceful. But now something unknown moved from the darkness beyond their borders, something big enough to dwarf their largest ships. The celebration was forgotten. Once again, the Coalition fleet prepared for war. Admiral Ko sat in the underground command center deep beneath Sol. The room had no windows. It was buried 3 kilometers under rock and steel. Screens covered every wall showing data from across the galaxy. For 200 years, these screens had watched a war that Earth officially knew nothing about. "Admiral, The Coalition's victory celebration has begun, Captain Han reported from his station. His fingers moved over holographic controls. They still think we're primitive apes who discovered fire yesterday. Ko smiled, but without humor. The Coalition had marked Earth as Quarantine Zone 7 long ago. They thought humans were too young. For a contact. Too stupid, too weak. They were wrong about everything. Show me the fleet status, Ko ordered. The main screen changed. It now showed 12 massive shapes floating in the space between stars. Each ship was dark metal and deadly curves. They hid in the cold void where no one looked. The Coalition had fancy names for their ships. Earth called theirs dreadnoughts, simple and true. All 12 are ready, sir, Captain Han said. The Thunder of Seoul reports weapons at full charge. The Busan's hammer has finished its shield tests. Every ship outguns anything the Coalition has built. Ko nodded. He remembered when this started. His grandfather had been a young officer when Earth first detected radio signals from space. Not simple radio waves, but complex military communications. 2 alien species were fighting each other. Then more species joined the war. Machines called builders wanted to kill all life. The Coalition formed to stop them. Earth watched everything. Quantum stealth probes sent back data. Human scientists studied alien weapons. They learned how the Coalition fought, how they built ships, how they thought. The Coalition used small weapons that shot metal pieces. They built ships with thick armor. They moved slowly between stars. Humans chose a different path. Remember the Battle of Vega 3? Ko asked Captain Han. Yes, sir. Coalition ships took 6 hours to break one builder fortress. Their weapons barely scratched the metal. Ko touched his screen. It showed that battle from a hidden human probe. Coalition ships fired thousands of small shots. The builder fortress glowed under the attacks but stayed strong. Finally, the Coalition won by ramming ships into the fortress. So much death, so much waste. And our tests on the same type of builder metal? One plasma burst from our main guns. The fortress would have been destroyed in 3 seconds, sir. Ko stood up and walked to the tactical display. The 12 dreadnoughts appeared as blue dots. Each blue dot could destroy an entire Coalition battle group. Not because they were bigger, because they understood energy. Sir, incoming deep space transmission, an officer called. It's from the Thunder of Seoul. The screen showed Captain Lee's face. She commanded the lead dreadnought. Behind her, the bridge glowed with soft blue light. Human ships didn't need bright lights and loud alarms. They worked with quiet efficiency. Admiral Ko, Captain Lee said, Coalition sensors have detected us. They're trying to scan our ships, but quantum stealth is holding. We're invisible to them. Good. How close can we get before revealing ourselves? We can reach the Sol system's edge undetected. After that, we'll have to drop stealth for combat systems. Ko thought for a moment. The Coalition fleet was celebrating. They thought the war was over. They thought the galaxy was safe under their rule. Soon they would learn that Earth had different ideas. Captain Han, Ko said, show me the Coalition's expansion plans. The screen changed again. It showed star systems marked in different colors. Red for Coalition core worlds, yellow for new member systems, green for planned expansion zones. Earth's solar system was marked in gray, a quarantine zone to be uplifted, when the Coalition decided humans were ready. That word made Ko angry. Uplifted, like humans were pets that needed training. The Coalition plans to contact Earth within 5 years, Captain Han explained. They'll offer us junior membership. We'll have to follow their laws, give them our resources, accept their judgment on everything. Ko had read the Coalition's first contact protocols. They were polite but firm. Join or be cut off from the galaxy, accept their way or stay primitive. They called it invitation. Ko called it conquest with nice words. Sir, another officer interrupted, the Coalition fleet is moving. They're heading directly toward our solar system. Ko wasn't surprised. Earth's dreadnoughts had been detected moving from the galactic rim. The Coalition would investigate. They would expect to find primitive human ships with simple weapons, chemical rockets maybe, basic energy tools. Instead, they would meet 12 dreadnoughts that had been built with 2 centuries of watching, learning, and preparing. Ships designed not just to fight the coalition, but to win quickly and decisively. "Signal all ships," Admiral Ko ordered. "Operation Thunder begins now. Drop quantum stealth on my command. Show them what primitives can really do." The coalition fleet entered the Sol system in perfect formation. Admiral Pack stood on the bridge of the Star's Edge, looking at the small yellow star ahead. This was supposed to be a simple first contact mission. Meet the primitive humans. Offer them membership in the galaxy. Add another world to the coalition. "Scanning for human ships, Admiral," Commander Yu reported. His sensors swept through the solar system. "I'm reading primitive radio signals from the third planet. Basic chemical rockets around the planet, exactly what we expected." Ambassador Tal smiled beside Pack. "It's always exciting to meet a new species. These humans were barely using fire when we first detected them. Now they have basic spaceflight. Remarkable progress." Pack nodded. According to coalition records, Earth had just begun leaving their planet. Simple chemical rockets, basic radio. They probably didn't even know other life existed in the universe. This would be a great day for humanity. The day they joined galactic civilization. "Move the fleet into standard first contact formation," Pack ordered. 12 ships should be enough to show our strength without scaring them." The coalition ships moved forward. They passed the outer planets of the Sol system. Each ship kept its weapons powered down. First contact was about peace, not war. The goal was to invite humanity to join, not frighten them. "Admiral," Lieutenant Zal called suddenly, her insect eyes wide. "Something's wrong. I'm reading massive energy signatures directly ahead." Pack turned to look at the sensors. "What kind of energy signatures?" "Unknown pattern, sir. Much stronger than anything these primitives should have. And the signatures are moving." The main screen flickered. Where empty space had been a moment ago, shapes began to appear. First one, then two, then 12 massive forms materialized from nothing. Each one was dark metal and flowing lines. Beautiful and deadly. "By the stars," Commander Yu whispered. "Those ships, they're enormous." The lead alien ship was 3 times larger than the Star's Edge. Its hull gleamed like liquid metal. Weapons that looked like crystals grew from its surface. It moved without sound, without visible engines. It was the most beautiful and terrifying ship Pack had ever seen. "How did they appear from nothing?" Ambassador Tal asked. "Our sensors saw nothing until now." The coalition fleet stopped in space, stunned. These weren't primitive rockets. These were starships that made their own vessels look like ancient weapons. "Admiral," the communications officer called, "we're receiving a transmission. It's in perfect coalition standard." The main screen changed. It now showed the bridge of the alien ship. A human stood there, wearing a simple uniform. He looked at Pack with calm eyes. Behind him, other humans worked at stations that pulsed with blue energy. "I am Admiral Ko of Earth," the human said. "You have entered our system without permission." Pack tried to recover from his shock. These weren't primitives at all. These were... What were they? How had the coalition been so wrong? "Greetings, humans of Sol 3, Pack said, using his formal diplomatic voice. "I am Admiral Pack of the Galactic Coalition. We come in peace. You are invited to join our alliance. The coalition offers guidance and protection to young civilizations like your own." Admiral Ko's expression didn't change. No. The simple word hung in space between the two fleets. Ambassador Tal leaned forward, confused. "Perhaps you don't understand," she said. "We offer membership in a galactic civilization. Trade, protection, technology. You will never be alone again." "We understand perfectly," Admiral Ko replied. "We've been watching your coalition for 200 years. We've seen how you guide new species. We decline your invitation." Commander Yu's scales turned pale. "They've been watching us for 2 centuries? Move the fleet forward," Park ordered quietly. "Show them we're serious. Sometimes primitives need a display of force to understand their place." 3 coalition battleships moved toward the human vessels. Their shields powered up. Their weapons turned toward the mysterious ships. It was just a show of strength. No one wanted to fight. The lead human ship didn't move. It simply waited as the coalition ships approached. Then, without warning, beams of pure energy lashed out from its crystal weapons. The beams were brighter than stars. They struck the Coalition shields and passed through like they weren't there. The first Coalition battleship exploded in 6 seconds. The second took 4 seconds. The third lasted 7 seconds before its core ruptured. 3 ships, hundreds of beings, gone in moments. The Coalition fleet stopped moving. On every bridge, officers stared in horror. Their shields hadn't slowed the weapons at all. Their armor hadn't mattered. The humans had killed 3 ships as easily as stepping on insects. Admiral Coe's voice came again, still calm. The next group that moves forward will be destroyed completely. Leave our system now. Park looked at his remaining ships. The humans had 12 vessels. The Coalition had 3,000 in their fleet, but those 3 explosions had shown him the truth. Numbers didn't matter against weapons like these. "Admiral," Commander Yu whispered, "what do we do?" Park stared at the human ships floating in space like living metal. These weren't primitives. These weren't cave dwellers with stone tools. These were something far more dangerous than the Coalition had ever imagined. The Coalition fleet came back with everything they had. 3,000 ships filled space around the Sol system like angry metal clouds. Admiral Park stood on the bridge of his dreadnought, watching the force he had assembled. Every species in the Coalition had sent their best ships: the Alteans, the Crystal People, the Winged Norn. Even the peaceful Zephyrians had sent warships. "This will end the human threat," Ambassador Tal said, her blue skin bright with confidence. "No species survives when the whole galaxy turns against them." Commander Yu studied the tactical displays. Mars is their weakest point. It's far from Earth, with only basic defenses. "We'll take it first, then move toward their home planet." Parky nodded. The plan was simple. Hit Mars hard and fast. Show humans that defying the Coalition meant death. Then offer them one last chance to surrender before destroying Earth. The attack began at dawn, Mars time. 9,000 Coalition ships dropped from space toward the red planet, their weapons charged, their shields powered up. This would be over quickly. Then Mars began shooting back. The first Coalition ship to die was the cruiser Stellar Wind. It exploded so fast that no one saw what hit it. The second ship lasted 3 seconds longer. Then 10 ships died at once. Then 50. The space around Mars turned into a graveyard. "What are those?" Commander Yu pointed at his screen. Strange shapes moved around Mars. They looked like metal flowers or crystal spiders. Each one fired beams of energy that cut through Coalition shields like they were made of paper. "Battle stations," Lieutenant Zal reported, her voice shaking. "The humans have built weapon platforms all around Mars. Each one has the firepower of a battleship." More Coalition ships died. 100 ships in 5 minutes. The attack force pulled back, leaving burning metal falling toward Mars. What should have been an easy victory had become a disaster. "The other attack groups," Park demanded. "What about Jupiter, Saturn?" Bad news came from every direction. The Jupiter attack fleet had met human ships that appeared from nothing. Before the Coalition forces could react, half of them were destroyed. The Saturn force found floating mines that followed ships and exploded when touched. "Admiral," Commander. Aya said quietly, "We've lost 400 ships in the first day. The humans have lost none. The war that was supposed to last hours had become a nightmare. Human ships appeared everywhere at once. They would attack a Coalition position, destroy everything, then vanish before help could arrive. No one could catch them. No one could find them until they chose to be found." "How do they move so fast?" Commander Yu asked after watching another attack. On his screen, 12 human ships surrounded a Coalition fleet of 200. The battle was over in minutes. "Their ships appear everywhere at once." Puck had no answer. Human ships bent space itself. They traveled between stars in moments, not days. They could be anywhere, any time. Fighting them was like fighting ghosts. Weeks passed. Coalition fleets died one by one. The humans never seemed to rest. They hit supply lines, destroyed repair stations, attacked without warning, then disappeared. Every victory celebration became a funeral. The worst part was that humanity barely used their main fleet. The 12 dreadnoughts stayed near Earth waiting. It was just their patrol ships and battle stations that were destroying the greatest military force in galactic history. "Sir," Commander Yu reported one terrible morning, The Altine home system has surrendered. They say they cannot fight and Pios into an enemy they cannot catch. More bad news followed. The Crystal people asked for a separate peace. The Zephyrian Council voted to leave the coalition. Species that had fought the Builders for 300 years gave up after 1 month fighting humans. Admiral Pack watched his empire dissolve on the command screens. Green dots turned red as worlds surrendered. Blue dots disappeared as fleets were destroyed. The coalition was falling apart. "We brought 3,000 ships to fight children," Pack said to himself. "How did we get everything so wrong?" Ambassador Tal had stopped talking about victory. Now she whispered about survival. "Maybe we can negotiate. Offer them something. Make peace." But everyone knew the truth. You didn't negotiate with wolves when you had entered their territory. You ran, or you died. The final report came at sunset on the Star's Edge. Commander Yu's voice was flat and tired. "Sir, the Home Council has voted. They're asking for terms. The coalition surrenders." Pack nodded slowly. He looked out at space, where human ships could be anywhere, watching everything. 300 years of building galactic unity, gone in a month. "We picked a fight with wolves while thinking they were sheep," he said quietly. "And now the sheep have fangs." The coalition had united the galaxy through war and politics. Humanity had taken it apart with weapons that made the old ways look like stone spears. Now Earth would decide what came next. The age of the coalition was over. The age of humanity had begun. 6 months had passed since the coalition fell. The Great Assembly Hall of the United Nations in New York buzzed with activity. Where once only humans had walked, now beings from across the galaxy sat in specially designed chairs. Blue-skinned Altines beside insect-like Zephyrians. Crystal people whose bodies caught and reflected the lights, species that had never sat together in peace. Admiral Ko stepped to the podium. Behind him, a massive holographic display showed charts of the galaxy. Every system was marked with new colors. No more red coalition zones, no more gray quarantine areas, just green dots showing the worlds that had chosen to join Earth's new alliance. "Friends," Ko began, his voice carried by hyperspace transmitters to every world. "6 months ago we fought each other. Today we build something new together." In the audience, Admiral Pack shifted in his seat. The former coalition commander wore no uniform now. His weapons were gone. His empire was dust. But he lived, and slowly he was beginning to understand what Earth offered. "The old coalition ruled through strength," Ko continued. "They said join us or be alone. Earth says something different. Join us if you choose. Help us if you want. Leave if you wish. We are partners, not rulers." Captain Han stood near a communication station. Her face was serious as she monitored reports from across the galaxy. Something was wrong. The signal from the Deep Space Patrol was late. Ko spoke about trade agreements, about shared technology, about joint exploration of empty systems. The old coalition had taken whatever they wanted. The new alliance shared what they could. Already, alliance ships carried Altine medicine to human colonies. Crystal people worked with Earth scientists on new energy systems. Zephyrian artists created beauty on formerly dead worlds. But we face danger together too, Ko warned. The universe holds threats bigger than our old quarrels. As if summoned by his words, Captain Han's communication board flashed red. She looked at her screen, then at Ko. Her face went pale. She made a small gesture that only Ko could see. Ko nodded slightly and continued his speech. "The Builders were the first threat, but they may not be the last. That's why we build this alliance. Not one species stands alone anymore." In the audience, Ambassador Tal leaned forward. The Builders had been defeated, hadn't they? The coalition had won that war. That's what their celebration had been about, those months ago. Before Earth changed. Everything. Ko finished his speech to wild applause. As delegates began talking among themselves, he walked quickly to Captain Han's station. Others followed. Admiral Pack, Ambassador Tal, Captain Lee from the Dreadnought fleet. "Report," Ko said quietly. Han's fingers moved over her controls. Long-range patrol ship Soul's Eye was investigating the galactic rim. They found something. The main display changed. It showed deep space, black and empty. But the computer had added markers, ship movements, energy signatures. Things moving in the dark between galaxies. The builders weren't destroyed, Han continued. Our sensors show massive construction in the void. Ships, structures, something big is being built out there. Admiral Pak stepped closer. His face showed fear mixed with anger. The Coalition fought them for 300 years. We won. We watched them die. You broke their attack force, Ko corrected. But builder machines don't really die. They rebuild. They adapt. They learn. Captain Lee studied the sensor data. The patterns are different from before. Their ships look evolved, like they learned from fighting the Coalition. Ko felt cold, despite the warm assembly hall. The builders had been silent for months. Everyone thought they were broken, dead, gone. Instead, they had been learning, changing, building. How many ships? He asked. Unknown, sir. The patrol ship detected them, then went silent. But this signature suggests thousands, maybe millions. The room fell quiet. Even the translator program seemed to pause. The Galactic War everyone thought was over had just begun again. But this time the enemy understood what they faced. Ko looked around the room at faces from a dozen species, former enemies who had just begun to become friends, species that had been killing each other months ago, now united by necessity. Send a message to all worlds, Ko ordered. Not just Alliance members. Every species, the builders return. And this time they know how we fight. Ambassador Tal moved closer. What do we do? Ko thought of Earth's dreadnoughts, of Alliance ships built with dozens of different technologies, of species sharing their best weapons and defenses. The old Coalition had fought the builders with divided strength. This new galaxy would fight with unity. We get ready, Ko said. The Coalition fought them race by race, taking orders from above. We'll fight them as equals, using every idea from every world. He looked at the star chart again. Green dots showing willing allies, empty spaces showing unknown threats. The galaxy was bigger than any one species, but together they might be enough. This time, Ko said quietly, we win.